Hey there my lovelies, and welcome to my booktube channel, the Sassy Library Fox. My name is V, and today I'm going to talk about my last library book haul. At the beginning of the year, I decided to go to the library with my bestie. And according to her, I broke my personal record of finding books in the library. I found 5 books in 5 minutes. And according to her, that never happened before. So yeah, the funny thing is, when I went to that library, I chose it on purpose because this library usually has a lot of fantasy books and is focused on fantasy books. But apparently they changed their focus, and now their focus isn't just on fantasy books, but also on LGBTQIA+ books. And yeah, that's how it happened that I borrowed 5 books in 5 minutes. Yeah, I wish I could say that's not a typical occurrence, that this never happens to me, but I would be lying. So yes, I guess me trying to go to a fantasy library didn't work out all too well. The joke's on me. I borrowed way too many books. I even made an Instagram post about it, and I placed all the 10 books I borrowed on that Instagram post picture. I will show it here, I think. But I decided I would just talk about 5 of those books, because otherwise this video would get out of hand. And this is actually a pretty unplanned video. I don't even know if I have enough battery to last through the entire video, but I guess we will find out. I brought my coffee once again because I wanted this to be, okay, I think I'll take it off. I wanted this to be a very chatty and relaxed video, and since this is pretty unplanned, please bear with me. I will try my best to talk about those 5 books. I even wrote myself some cards with clues so that I can give you a good summary and don't always have to read it from the blurb. Haha, I'm a little bit prepared at least. Yeah, as spontaneous as this is, I still try to be prepared for you. All the effort I put into this just for you guys. Anyway, let's start with the first book. And the first book I found in my library is Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn, and I can't wait to dive into this one. I loved the first book, Legendborn, so much when I read it last year. I think it was in November or something like that, and I was so surprised by the book. And before I tell you what the book is about, or at least what the first book is about, I don't want to spoil you about this one. I'll just take a little sip. I have to move freely, and it just doesn't work with coffee and with the book in hand. So I just put the coffee aside and take the book here. The first book. I absolutely loved the first book. I was very surprised because I didn't expect to love it that much, but it was definitely a 5-pause read for me. And the interesting thing about this series is that it's an Arthurian retelling. So we have King Arthur and his knights, and aside from that, this book, or the first book, Legendborn, tackled so many other topics. There was a grief rap, there were LGBTQIA+ side characters. One of them is even non-binary and goes by they them pronouns. There was a finding yourself kind of trope thing, coming of age sort of thing going on. Bree discovering her roots and where she comes from, who she is, and so many things were amazing in here. And my absolute favorite was Selvin, Kane and Bree. I loved Bree a lot, and Selvin Kane is honestly, I love Selvin. I'm team Selvin, and I just want more of that magician boy. Oh yeah, did I forget to mention that there is magic and demons in this book as well? I hope you're curious about this now because it was great. And I've been dying to get my hands on an ARC copy of this book. Of course, didn't get one. So imagine my absolute enthusiasm when I found this in the library, and it's been out for a couple of weeks, I think. So this was pretty early for the library to have it, and I took it and never gave it out of my hands again before I was out of the library. So if you like magic, Arthurian retellings, an author that doesn't shy away from grief representation or from talking about slavery and a lot of other things, magic, demons, honestly, this is the book for you. Okay, so that was the first book. The second book I borrowed from my library, which I'm very, very curious about, and which I got curious about by Joanna's channel and her videos about the book, is Susanna Clarke's Piranesi. And I had no idea what this book was about until I looked it up a couple of minutes ago. And I gotta say, I am intrigued. It sounds very interesting, but it's also some sort of plot that is hard to put into words. As far as I gathered, Piranesi is living in a house. And this house has endless corridors and is somehow magical, and even has an ocean at the inside of it that sometimes drowns the staircases and rooms. And Piranesi isn't the only person that lives in this house. There's also a second person named the Other who visits Piranesi twice a week and always asks him for help with research. And apparently there's more to that house, and Piranesi will find out about it, and there will be a revelation of a secret that will destroy or change Piranesi's entire life. So I'm very curious about that one. I heard so many great things about the book, but everyone had a hard time to talk about what it actually is about. After reading that blurb, I can see why. But Joanna really recommended that one to everyone who watches her channel, and I decided I would just go for it. It's not a really thick book, so I'm pretty certain I will be through it in no time, and I can't wait to find out what all the fuss is about. Okay, that was book number 2. Book number 3 is a book I wanted to read for a long time. I even requested the ARC on NetGalley, and it's Winter Orbit by Everina Maxwell. I hope I didn't butcher that name. I'm sorry if I did. And this one is a very interesting one because it's some sort of science fiction romance with a lot of political intrigue. At least that's what the blurb says, because it's basically about 2 princes, and one of those princes, I think you pronounce his name Chinon, is a widower because his husband died, and because the galaxy and the planets they live at would be at war if he doesn't marry someone else, he marries the cousin of his former husband. It's an arranged marriage, and they try to learn to trust each other. As far as I could tell from the blurb, both of them are forced into this alliance and marriage to keep the peace and to help the planets not to go into another war. And I'm pretty certain it's really tough for the widower to get used to a new husband in that short time. and then even to trust him, because apparently there's also a murder mystery going on. No one knows how exactly his former husband died, and there are even people that think that it was his fault and he is a suspect. So they both kind of navigate court intrigues, get to know each other, fall in love, and try to solve the murder of his former husband. This sounds amazing. This really sounds amazing. It all plays in space as well, on different planets. So I'm so ready for this. I'm totally down for this. You have no idea. Or probably you have after me raving about it. So I'm very pumped for this. I can't wait to tackle this one. I've been dying to read that one ever since I saw the arc of it. And I think book 2 is already out, or will get out soon, so that's perfect time to read it. Okay, I hope the battery won't go out while I talk about those books here. I'm really trying my best to keep it concise, but you never know. So I just jump into the 4th book I borrowed from my library, and this is one I wanted to read for a very long time as well. It's Loveless by Oseman, and I really think this is almost the last book of Oseman I haven't read yet. I think this winter is the only other book, and it's just a short novella, I haven't read yet. I read all the others, and I think this is actually the last big book of Oseman I haven't read. And after reading the blurb, I can say that it is about an MC named Georgia, and Georgia has never been kissed, she never even held hands. She just thinks she isn't made for love and therefore considers herself to be loveless. But then she changes to university and decides that she will do the one thing she didn't manage to do until now. She wants to fall in love and find her significant other or special person, and she apparently only doesn't cause a lot of trouble with her love shenanigans among her own friends, but suddenly also finds herself confronted with the terms asexual, aromantic, and ace. So this sounds like a really great book. A lot of people have been raving about it. Some even say it's Oseman's best book. I'm ready to find out. I so rarely read books with ROA's representation, so I'm very ready to find out if this book is as good as everyone claims it to be. And as I already said, I think I'm almost done with all of Oseman's books, which makes me kind of sad, but at the same time, I'm very lucky that I was able to read them all. So there's that. And from this on, I will just go to the last book I want to talk about. Battery is still going strong. That's good. Thumbs up. And the last book I want to talk about is She Gets the Girl by Rachael, Lippincott, and Alyson Derrick. I hope I didn't butcher their names. It are two authors who wrote this book, and She Gets the Girl has been on my radar for quite a while as well. A lot of people on Instagram, especially Bookstagram, talk about this book a lot. It's an FF story, which is still pretty rare. I think we definitely should get more of those stories, and it's one of the main reasons I picked this up, because I definitely want to read more FF books this year. So I decided to borrow this from my library and to give it a high priority. And as for what it is about, it's apparently about two girls named Alex and Molly. Alex is a headstrong and flirty personality and just lost her ex because of it. Or rather, lost her girlfriend and made her ex because of it. Anyway, and Molly has a secret crush on a girl she wanted to date for ages, but she's just too shy, and doesn't know how to do it and how to talk to her. So those two girls meet somehow and then strike up a deal to help each other out, because Alex wants to get her ex back and Molly finally wants to be with the girl she's been mooning over for a very long time. And they make a deal, and during that deal, while they try to help each other out, they apparently fall in love with each other, which sounds very cute. I really like stories like that. So I'm totally ready to dive into this and to read this. I only read raging reviews about it yet. I haven't heard a single negative review. So that's good. That's already a very good sign. And I'm sure I will love this one as well. Okay, so those were the 5 books. I will just hold them into the cam. I borrowed from my library and which I want to read soon. I actually borrowed 10 books, but as I already said, it would have just kind of blown up the video, so I decided to go for those 5, and I hope this kind of format worked for you. I recently heard that a lot of people don't like it when booktubers read the blurbs while they talk about the book. So I decided I wanted to go for something different and to talk more freely, and I hope this worked for you. If it didn't, and if you still prefer me reading from the blurb, that's okay, please write it down in the comments. I'm always here for feedback or helpful critique at that. So yeah, I think that's it from me now. And if you liked this video, please like, subscribe, comment, do whatever you want. Are there some library books you recently borrowed? If yes, which ones did you borrow and did you enjoy them? And if you enjoyed them, which ones did you enjoy? Write them down in the comments below. And well, I guess there's nothing left to say except of take care, stay healthy and safe, and see you around the next time. Bye!